Hello everyone, welcome to this global GEG broadcast. We'll be making a start shortly, and while we're waiting for everyone to arrive, why not head into the chat, let us know who you are, where you're from, your Twitter handle, and if you've got any questions that you'd like us to answer during the course of this evening, let us know there as well. Also, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button to make sure you stay up to date with all of the events being organised by us at Global GEG. We'll be making a start really soon. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening and welcome to Googlers of the Roundtable, or good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you're joining us from today. My name is Georgina Dean and I am your Googler in tow. And today we have a very special episode for you of Googlers of the Roundtable. We will be joined today to discuss the most important topic: certification tips and tricks. We would like to welcome our Googlers of the Roundtable. First up, we would like to introduce Mr. Ben.
Hello, everybody.
Greetings.
Greetings, Miss Georgina Dean. I hope everybody is okay today. I'm Ben Moore, and I'm from GEG UK.
We are quite grateful to have you at today's roundtable, Sir Knight Ben. Next at the roundtable, we have... Oh, who do we have?
Well, good morning, milady. Thank you for having us. My name is Stacy Klein, and I'm a teacher in the Santa Ana Unified School District. I'm a Google certified trainer and a co-leader for the amazing GEG SoCal. At your service.
Oh, wonderful. GEG SoCal and GEG UK, absolutely brilliant. Welcome, Sir Stacy. And next we have...
Oh, hi. Good morrow. I'm Dana. I am a teacher in Clark County School District in Nevada, and I am the leader of GEG Nevada.
Oh, lovely. Nevada's in the house at the table. Lovely. Welcome, Sir Knight Dana. Oh, who is this dashing young lady?
Hello. I am Lady Bonnevier. I'm Bonnie Chalette from, I run the South Louisiana GEG, and I'm so glad everybody is here.
Oh, Louisiana, GEG Louisiana, lovely. GEG South Louisiana, lovely. Welcome to Googlers of the Roundtable. I do believe we need a sixth one. Where is the sixth Googler?
Hi, Lady
Hello.
Georgina. Hello. Hello, my lady. This is Victor Repatajodo from GEG Philippines. I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to share my tips. And I'm at your service, Lady Georgina.
Welcome, Victor. Just round the corner, right? The left corner, the right corner. Welcome. So today at the Googlers of the Round Table, we have a very important topic to discuss, Knights, and actually regarding the future of certification and how we will support Googlers around the world with their L1 and L2 certification. It appears to me, I received news that this future global GEG has just put on a boot camp. What do you think of this boot camp?
Well, that's right, milady. We had a very, very wonderful boot camp, and we had many, many, many wondrous people arrive and partake of our knowledge. We have amazing global GEG founders and leaders who shared their knowledge and led us on our quest. Why, Lady Crystal, I see her in the audience today, and I see Lady Erin and Lady Lisa and Lady Stephanie. They're all here to continue their quest so they can get the holy grail of the coveted badge.
This is wonderful. I also see Sir Christopher in the chat and others as well. This is wonderful. Thank you to all Googlers who have joined. Right, let's get to it then, shall we? And let's discuss how we can support our Googlers around the globe with their Google certifications. All right, the first thing we want to do is take a look at the survey. I understand that we polled survey recently to ask about what are issues or concerns or worries that our Googlers are having or might be concerned about coming up to the L1 certifications. As you can see on the screen, it was a pretty tight draw. It seems to be, knights and ladies of the round table, that stress and testing anxiety seem to be quite high on the list, along with internet issues, finding quiet spaces, and followed by knowing which apps to use. Shall we go ahead and help these Googlers out with some tips and tricks, knights and ladies?
Yes,
Lovely.
Yes, lovely.
Lovely. Let's get on with it then. Question number 1, please. Question number 1, what are the benefits of completing the certification? As in, what's in it for us? Who would like to start? Mr. Ben, Sir Ben.
Thank you, Miss Georgina. So, for me, I think the certification has really come in handy for myself, being a classroom teacher here in the UK. Having experience with the Google tools not only enhances what I do day to day, but makes a huge difference to my students' learning engagement as well. So, for me, I definitely think it's made a huge difference on student, in the work I can produce for those students, and the way they engage back with it. As before, I was probably creating content that was not as easy to get to, not using the tools to the best of their ability, and now I definitely.
I love that. That's brilliant, Ben. Engaging students. Who would have thought of such a wonderful idea? Would anybody else like to add to that?
My lady, I would like. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Victor.
Okay.
Go ahead, Victor.
Thank you, Dana. My lady Georgina, I think it's really better to have the certification because it's like an achievement, right? And it makes us like feel more confident, especially today that most of the classes are moved to online classes. So I think us teachers knowing these tools will really help in order for our students to continue learning despite the pandemic. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I think Miss Stacy had something to add also.
After my lady Bonnie, of course.
Of course. Lovely.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to not talk in character, but it's a terrible accent. I actually did a pretty big research paper on like specifically Google certification and what teachers thought, and I think I surveyed like 600 Google certified educators, and I think the vast majority of them said the training process is what benefited them. The badge is great, and having that goal at the end that's attainable is great, but like the process of getting through that and having those specific like scaffolded goals, and I need to know this, check that box, and have it all. It's exactly like it'll help your confidence, but that process is what really benefits you as an educator because you're learning by application.
I love that, continual learning. And also, Lady Rhonda mentioned the same in the chat, that it is the ultimate reason to continue to learn and grow together to benefit the students in engaging ways. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Lady Rhonda. Would anybody else like to add other items of benefit?
What Lady Bonnie said was wonderful. For me in San Antonio Unified, I tell my teachers, it's not me passing the test. It's not even me helping you. I'm giving you the confidence to know that you already have those skills and to be prepared to sit for a 3-hour exam. And all I'm doing is I'm getting you a little bit fit, getting your questions ready. And so it's like Stephanie Howell dropped in the chat. It helps your confidence. It makes you understand that you know what you're talking about. And that's the best thing of all about getting that badge.
Yep.
I love that. And as Googlers of the round table, we must maintain the utmost of confidence in the classroom with our young learners. And Lady Pili also says in the chat that it helps her to grow as an educator, and getting the certification is like a prize. It is certainly a lovely golden achievement.
Well,
Ms. Dana, would you like?
Oh, sure. I completely agree with you guys, but I'm going to go a little more shallow. I really like having the cute little badge in my email. It makes me look good. And also just being in the Google crowd helped me build my PLN. So having that support network when you do stuff like this, that was actually my biggest benefit.
I love that. And actually, if we think about it, badges have been super successful recently. We can think of a certain Googler of the round table in, I believe, GAG UK, who's recently completed her Google EI project on badges, and how successful it has been to encourage teachers around the world to, increase their learning. So I totally agree with Dana. That's a lovely idea. And PLN, Sir Ben, would you like to talk about PLN?
So yes, my lady, my PLN is so important to me. I mean, I only started on my Google journey. I don't know if many people know this, but I only started my Google journey back in March when the pandemic began. And since I've completed my level 1, 2 certifications, trainer as well, being the youngest trainer in the world at the moment, and I've just submitted my innovator application as well. And I wouldn't be able to do that without the support of my PLN. People that are in the chat at the moment, going through, Lady Howe, Sir Abid, Sir White, Darren White, everybody like that. Everyone's been so supportive, and having that personal learning network is almost like a support bubble, as Lady Dana mentioned a minute ago. And I think it's similar interest to you and can push you and support you in everything you do. And if you're stuck with something, more than likely someone will be able to help you. And I just think that's, some of my sort of closest friends are from my PLN. So, for me, it's so important. I really, really value my PLN massively.
That's lovely. And it's great to have other Googlers globally that you can count on to support you with your Grow with Google vision, Sir Ben. I love it. Shall we move on to the second question then, please? And while we're looking at the second question, please do note that areas of opportunity for growth have recently been dropped in the YouTube chat. And so do please take a look at Energize Your Life with a PLN, dropped by our global GAG from the future, Imagine, and also other things that will be dropped soon. All right, question number 2 then. Okay, question number 2. How do I prepare for the exam? A very important question indeed when we consider all of the things that we need to juggle when getting ready for the exam. Perhaps we could ask Sir Victor to start this round.
Sure. For me, it's really best that we review the fundamentals if we are going to take level 1 in advanced training for level 2. I also think that it's important that we practice using the tools, because how can we perform them during the exam if we haven't used them at all? Another thing is we should not worry about not knowing everything, because you know what, if we know the basic, for sure during the examination it's like it will become very intuitive. I also want to emphasize that it's good to watch tutorials, but I believe that we should not overdo it. I also mentioned in my video, if you have watched them, in my 5-minute lessons tutorial YouTube channel, that you have to know how to schedule the exam, because you know that in GEC there are two platforms, the ProctorU and the Web Assessor, right? So you choose which one you're going to use, and you have to familiarize what are the requirements there. And I think it's very important that we have to prepare our body and mind, because how can we take the exam if those two are not prepared, right? I'm sorry, I talked a lot.
No, this is such important information, Victor. We are so grateful. And I love what you said, many things. I think Miss Stacy would like to respond, though. Go ahead, please, Lady Stacy.
No, I was giving Victor his props because his videos, Global Gig just dropped his link to his videos in the chat, and they're also showcased on the Global Gig Bootcamp. So kudos to Victor's amazing support. Since I'm already talking, I think most people are familiar with the HyperDoc I have, and it's just it's just the Google Teacher Center, but it's in a HyperDoc so that you can target what you might think you're weak at. And then, like I said, my big push is go through all the lesson checks and do the unit reviews and do them until you're 100%, like practicing a piece of music. Instead of stopping where you make a mistake and starting the piece of music again, play the whole piece through until you have it perfectly, and then you're practicing the questions or the piece of music instead of the errors. And that'll get your confidence up and your testing fitness up, and you'll breeze through that and have plenty of time for the practicum.
I love that. So practice makes perfect, right? Or close to perfect. The more we practice, the better we become. And I do see that Victor's resources have been dropped in the YouTube chat. So please feel free to connect with Victor and go through his video tutorials that will help you. Thank you, Sir Victor, for sharing with your Googlers of the Roundtable. Miss Dana or Lady Bonnie, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, and I also think like try to think of real world applications where you can use it. Like I had a group and we would meet at their PLCs, and then that following we go over docs, and then that week they would all make a point to use docs and practice all the things we went over, and we did that every week, and a lot of them passed it just from that practice. But don't just use tech for technology just to use technology. Find ways that it makes things easier for you, because it can. I mean, now when we just share a slide deck and everybody can add to it. We're not sending all those emails. Find those ways that actually don't just study for the test. Think of hey, I could do this, or this would help me. So it makes practicing a lot easier because it's not like a chore. You're okay, I want to learn this.
Mm.
Absolutely. And we did have a question from our Googlers who are watching from around the world, different time zones, our future global gig, and asking about practicing in incognito window. Who has any information to help Lady Lisa in the chat?
I'll go ahead. So incognito window is an awesome tool when you're not on your own computer. So let's say you're over at a friend's house and you need to search something really quick. You don't want your history inside their machine. So you just pop open incognito.
Dodgy example, Dana.
Dodgy, you say? Dodgy? Oh dear. Oh dear.
So if you put your password in, it's not going to remember that password of your incognito window. So if you want to practice the incognito window, just go up to your triple dot or your snowman and open one. Try to log into some sites, close it, and then go with your regular account and try to open them again. You're going to see your information is then there. So incognito window is a powerful tool to use not only for the test, but to teach your students to do that too.
I agree. And it's also very powerful for any super Googlers who are admins. I would like to add that if you're using the admin console, the Googlers of the Roundtable highly recommend that is used in incognito window. Lovely. Shall we move on to question number 3 then, please?
Mhm.
Question number 3. What are some testing strategies that will help a well-prepared educator pass the very first time? Perhaps we could ask Lady Stacy to start.
Well, like I suggested before, the testing fitness really helps. It's not to overdo the questions, because I like Stephanie Carter's challenge cards, and what Dana said, the point is to use Google in your teaching and learning, and how does it help your students grow. But to pass the exam, it's really helpful if you practice the test questions, because consider them like released test questions for any state testing or the SAT or the LSAT or something. They're your opportunity to see how the test questions are phrased, how they frame their questions. And so you'll kind of be in tune with the exam if you practice those release questions. And there's each unit, all 13 units have lesson checks with 5 or 6 free questions in them, and then a unit review at the end, and you can take them over and over again till mastery, and then you're going to be ready to take that test really quickly. And when you're doing the task, make sure that you don't do anything extra. If they want you to put a flower in the middle of the page, just do that. Everything that you need is in your imaginary Google account during the test. So if you need a contact or share a doc with a parent, you want to open up a spreadsheet or create a Google form, it's all embedded in your testing Google account. And so don't go outside of that. If you are using, because the test is open internet, and you grab a resource or look something up online during the exam, make sure you get back into that incognito window, because that's the only thing that's going to grade. You're being graded by an AI. And so make sure you don't leave that testing environment.
I love that. Some very important strategies to support people with taking their test for the first time. Would anybody else like to add to that? Go ahead, Sir Victor.
Thank you. I tried the 2 testing platforms, the Web Assessor and then ProctorU. For Web Assessor, the credentials are given to you through email. So you even have, I think, 8 days to take the exam. I think what is very important to remember in Web Assessor is you have to use the incognito mode. And I would like to add that you have to learn how to pin the tab, because sometimes we have the tendency to close or accidentally close the tab, and we have to restart again or opening it. So it takes time. I also had the experience taking the exam in ProctorU. In ProctorU, I chose the schedule on demand. So after 15 minutes, I was given an instruction to log in and then take the exam immediately. So I heard that if after 15 minutes you are not logged in, you will not be allowed to take the exam anymore. And in ProctorU, the thing is, the credentials are given to you on the spot. So I strongly suggest that you take note of the credential, because like what happened to me, I closed the tab, and then when I tried, or I logged out, and when I tried to log in again, I don't know the password. I had to chat the ProctorU agent. The good thing about ProctorU is they have live agent. However, in Web Assessor, it was mentioned in their email that there's no live agent during the examination.
This is very helpful information, Sir Victor. Thank you very much. And so remember to pin the tab and write down your credentials before you actually begin. Would anybody else like to add some other tips for test taking strategies?
Yeah, I'm happy to share here as well. I think there's been some really good points just brought up here by Sir Victor and by Miss Stacey as well, that, you know, pinning the tab is really important. Definitely do that. I made the mistake of closing mine down the first time and had the panic of trying to get back in. So just pin that to make sure that doesn't happen to you, because that was, for me, I found that quite stressful. And the second tip I think I have is, when you're doing the multiple choice questions or doing the scenarios, if you're not sure on something, I'd say don't overthink it. Don't spend a lot of time on that one question. You can mark a
Here,
question.
here. Agree.
Yeah, you can mark a question. Mark it so you can come back to it at the end. So don't sit and focus on that one question for too long, because that 3 hours will go really quick. So just mark, I'm not sure. Come back to it at the end where you have a bit more time to go through it. So that would be my top tip for all of you today.
And so time, you say, is of the essence, Sir Ben?
It is, Miss Georgina.
Lovely. And Miss Bonnie, we have some agreement from yourself.
I agree with what he said. Like, go with your gut, just like you would tell a student. Like, mark an answer you think is right and flag it if you're really concerned, and you can come back in the end. It's just like the standardized testing. But I also tell people to just relax. While it is lovely to have that badge, it is not a measure of your worth. Like, you are still a great person. So just take a breath and, relax, because you got this.
And also,
Here to Googlers. Here to Googlers. Yes.
Many people do fail the first time. It does not mean you're a failure. It's just the first attempt in learning.
Yes, I
Agree.
And we all fail
agree.
forward. If you fail, consider it a 3-hour study session. You could not get a better study session than taking the exam. So you basically can't lose. You can take it again in 2 weeks. If you have any issues with the exam, don't cry in the corner and hide in the closet. Reach out to your local GEG. We have ways of intervening on your behalf. If you had an internet issue where everything shut down, and I had another dear friend have a baby on the way, so hey, then they got to take the test again. We're here to help you.
Baby Googlers, you say, Lady Stacy. Baby Googlers.
Yeah, that was I was telling my one of my San Antonio Unified teachers, I said, that's a really good reason to stop the test. Let me intervene. So
wonderful. So we have another question before we get there. We did have a comment from Lady Pillay in the chat with, in capital letters, I'm assuming this is very important tip from Lady Pillay, is to follow the instructions carefully and read carefully. And as somebody else at today's roundtable already mentioned, just do exactly as the test asks. Nothing frilly. We don't like frilly. Only googly. All right, the last question for today's tips and tricks, Googlers, prepare yourself. The last question is, confident using Google tools are you? What should you focus on in particular to help you pass the test? So now we're thinking about the areas of focus in the last bit. So let's say we have a good overview. What do we really need to focus on in the last stretch before taking the test? Lady Bonnie.
Comments and sharing settings. That's a huge part of it. On almost every tool, that's going to be something you really need to pay attention to, because that robot, like I said, is grading it. So you want to make sure you share it to the right address so you get that little point and that robot sees it. But yeah, sharing settings and commenting, across all the tools.
Yes, that was so prevalent on the test. You have to comment on everything, and you have to share everything. You have to send it to the right people. And when you take the test, some of your emails may bounce. Don't worry about that. It happens. They don't clear them out. It does not mean you failed.
Yeah.
And another point on that as well, if you're going to when you're sharing or sending to certain people, just copy the exact email address, highlight over it, copy it and paste it straight in. Don't try and type it out. If you copy the thing exactly and paste it in, first of all, it saves your fingers from having to type, which is always a bonus. And second, you're less likely to get that wrong. So just take the time just to copy that across and paste it in directly.
Copy and paste, you say? Lovely, lovely.
And don't be afraid of Google Sheets. Everybody has a panic over that. It's very basic. Go over some of the basics of creating forms and using Google Sheets. You will love Google Sheets, first of all. And secondly, it is very basic. You're not being asked to be this big data handler. So don't be afraid of that part. That's kind of people's number one fear of apps is the sheets.
That's wonderful. Well, Googlers of Sir Victor, please go ahead.
I think it's also important to focus on the modules, because based on my experience, the tools that we used or that I used during the exam, are just basically the tools that were mentioned in the fundamentals training for level 1. So that's it for me.
That's wonderful. And as we wrap up Googlers of the Round Table, we would like to do a final round around the table for the last tip and trick from each Googler. So who would like to begin? And we'll just go clockwise around the round table. Final tips and tricks.
Well, I gotta think.
All right, I shall start then. For the final tips and tricks for the round table, I would like to add that time was something that came in from Global Gag recently about finding the time, especially those with families and those who are working. 3 hours is quite a chunk to find time. And so definitely you want to plan in advance and make sure that you have either an area where your children have been taken care of, either by your partner or other family members, and also where you're not working. If you calendar it enough in advance, then you can feel calm and you won't be stressed about not having enough time to go through the exam.
Yay. And my tip would be to check out the Google Bootcamp. The Global Gag's beautiful recordings. They're all available. They're all extremely entertaining. And a really big pro tip, because those were 3 hours of lessons, you can put it on double speed and you can watch things much faster than are normally comfortable. So double speed it, and then check out the HyperDoc and just target those apps that you maybe feel weak in. You got this.
Yeah, and
it.
I would also suggest not, like, if you have to borrow a device to practice beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of people call me like panic, like the camera won't work. Like, come ask one of us, the Global GEG, like, hey, will you, call me? We'll jump on a meet just to make sure your camera's working. I like to have a mouse, like, because if I'm clicking a lot, so those kinds of things, just make sure you're really comfortable with that device, because that's just one less thing you have to deal with, and have a
Wonderful.
charger nearby. Charger.
And Sir Victor.
I think I just have last 2 tips. First is you have to wait for the final on-screen instruction. So I think you will know what I mean. I want to say, once you are there in the examination already, again, you have to wait for the final on-screen instruction. And the other one, I think it's important that you update your tools. So if you haven't updated your Chrome yet, so it's
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
important.
I would agree.
With people in the comments, like Sherry and Peely, have a glass of water and go to the bathroom. You can get up to go to the bathroom during the test, but it's just going to cause you stress if you have to. So have those things ready. You can have notes now. So sometimes I have a pencil and paper and I like to make notes. Just regular testing skills, be ready.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Be ready. Sir Ben, any final tips and tricks for our Googlers?
So, Miss Dean, I'd like to add my final tip. So, going back to something I said earlier, actually, if you're stuck on a question, please don't waste too much time. Please mark it at the bottom. There's a box you can select. It's next to the previous and next buttons to go between the pages. Just mark it as mark it. I can't remember the exact word on the website.
Review for later.
Yeah, maybe it's marked for later or something like that. Yeah, just mark it and come back to it, because you can get through the questions you're good on, but if you get stuck on one question, your brain will start to say, I don't think I'm ready, and start panicking. It's not that you're not good enough, it's because one question stumped you. So just mark it for later, come back to it. You're still amazing, you're still going to do amazing things. You don't need that badge to tell you you're an amazing person.
I love that. And we don't need any certification or badge, because we all know, as Googlers of the Round Table, that Googlers globally are wonderful human beings, and we appreciate you, and we are so proud of everything you have done. Let's close on that note, Googlers of the Roundtable, with an introduction for next Roundtable, which will be happening on Saturday, the 25th of July at 10 a.m. EDT. And we do ask global Googlers to please make sure your time conversions are accurate from the 10 a.m. EDT time zone. Shall we, Googlers, finish off with a recap from our Global GAG Bootcamp?
Yes, we shall.